So I graduated means I have completed my PhD last year from IISc Bangalore,
Mm-hmm.
materials engineering. My BTech is also in the same background. I have completed it from a Central Government College of India, NIFFT Ranchi, and then I joined Purdue for my postdoctoral studies. Last year, April, I came here.
Okay.
So I am looking for both industry-related jobs. Well, my first priority is to go for industry, good industries.
Where?
Uh, like my expertise in PhD was related more to materials characterization of additively manufactured alloys.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have means expertise towards microscopy, X-ray diffraction,
But
mechanical test.
my question is, where are you looking for jobs in US or in India?
Uh, in India also I am fine. It's in good company. For me here the problem is visa. I came here on J1.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason I asked you that question. Because, if you are looking for a job in US, and I said this many times, and most of the students who come from outside
Yeah,
US, from India or somewhere else, it's getting a job in industry is very tough.
yeah,
And the biggest reason is the visa.
yeah,
So I would advise you to prepare accordingly. Don't
yeah.
keep any false hope. What I want to tell you is I don't know anyone who has a PhD from India and is working for industry. I don't know.
Okay.
Very few people get a job in academics,
Yeah,
right? So, and I'm talking about industry. Like for example, I mean, if you look at even your PhD advisor student, right? Uh, Satyam, his students who have done postdocs in US, they most of them, I would say almost all of them had went back and are working in some IITs or somewhere.
yeah. And even if they are here, they are mostly national labs like Oak Ridge and all.
Yeah, yeah.
PNN.
So I know,
Very few are here.
yeah, no. So what that's what I'm saying. So I know one who came to work as a postdoc in Oak Ridge and got a job at Oak Ridge.
Yeah,
But other than because one of his student was a postdoc at Oak Ridge, this was almost 10 years back.
okay.
He's a professor at IIT Kharagpur now, I think.
Really, Sivayan Roy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because
He was my lab senior. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Because I used to work at Oak Ridge with the same guy, and Satyam, not Satyam, that Roy,
Amit,
he came after.
Amit Syam.
Yeah, yeah. He was my advisor. So what I'm saying is, and not only that, I have a lot of friends also who did their PhD from IC,
Hmm.
and yeah, they are back in India. They were here for a postdoc for a couple of years, and then they went back. I think one is a professor at IC at IIT Indore, and one got a job at GE. I don't know where is he now. And I know quite few who came from IIT Roorkee and things like that, and they are back too.
Yeah. So yeah, my plans are also very clear. I have to go back after some, let's say, 1 year more, or maybe
Yeah.
this year if I'll get job.
Yeah, I mean, my that's what I'm saying is, here is the thing. I I won't say it's the probability is zero. There could be 1% probability and your luck was so good that you are able to figure it out. That's fine, but considering mm, how many students are here from India for PhD and how many students have got a job, it's highly unlikely, especially if you are on a J1 visa. What I understand from J1 visa is J1 visa brings his own problems.
Yeah.
And because in US the visa system is not that awesome, even for students who graduate from here. I had a problem when I finished my PhD. So it takes time. And the good thing is that people who graduate from here, they have OPT and the chances becomes better, unlike students who come from India. And also, I would say another thing which I know sometimes could be a problem is many students who come from India, because you are coming at a certain age. It's sometimes culturally is very difficult to mix also, because I came here when I was 20-year-old. I finished my undergrad from BHU and then I came here, so it was easier for me to mingle.
Yeah, and I am coming at the age of 27, 28 here.
Yeah. So not only that, I would say most of your see, you make friends and you mingle in the culture when you're in school.
Yeah.
You don't make friends, you don't make you don't understand when you are in a job. Most of my friends are my masters and my PhD friends here, right? I mean,
Yeah.
professionally, you don't make friends. They are your colleagues. And what happens is when you do that, you have to get into the system. As a student, it's very easy. You understand things, and so that's another thing I have noticed, and I have spoke to those who came here as a PhD. It One of the biggest problem they had is they were very it's just very difficult from them to mix. And so but that should not be a reason for you to not look for a job. My only thing I would say is if I was you, and if you are planning to stay here, it could be easily 4 5 years until you figure it out your J1 and build a profile and were able to find a job and have a green card.
It's a long journey for me.
I mean, it's a personal choice. A lot of people, they really thrive to do that, right? So it's a personal choice. I don't know what is right or wrong, to be honest with you. But whatever you think is better for you, whatever you think would would give you a better satisfaction in your career, do that. No, I mean, undoubtedly, working here is brings a lot of good things. There are negatives and positives also. Career wise, there is no negative. Personal wise, there are negatives because you are away from your family. That's all. But career wise, definitely there is. I don't see any negatives unless and until. Um, so, for example, if let's say you are working here in, let's say if you're able to find a job in IC or IITs, I would say go back. No, without any doubt, because jobs are also limited in India. So my advice to you, best bet is try to, because other thing what happens is you have contacts that are relevant for India. Your advisor or everyone, you have more network in India rather than here. Here you are on your own.
Yeah.
So try to use those networks and see if you're able to find the job. What usually, like in your department in ISC, where, I mean, I know people do postdocs after PhD, but what else they go for? What else they do?
So now the trend is also shifting for going to good industries like GE, Collins Aerospace, or maybe ABB, Rolls-Royce, Airbus. Those
Yeah, I mean,
companies,
yeah, I
uh,
mean, that's I think that is one of the my advice to you is to keep applying for jobs over there. And if you are trying to go for industry, don't waste too much time on postdoc. It's a waste of time.
yeah.
Unless and until you are gearing for academia, I understand. But if you are going for a job in an industry, postdoc is not very helpful, especially if you are going back to India.
So in most of the companies which I apply, they don't even shortlist me for interviews and all.
Where?
I applied most of
No,
the
no,
time
where I mean in India or US.
in India, yeah, like in GE.
Yeah, but jobs are hard to get. I mean, you have to understand you are competing with a group of people who have similar or a higher brain than you
Yeah,
and are equally qualified. So there is no recipe saying that how can I stand out? Because if you look at your CV, and I can tell you if you look at any PhD student CV who are graduating from IITs, they're not very different. What differentiate you is very hard to say. So most of the time, what works is the network. I mean, one of the best things that you have in your CV is you are, if I have to say so, that you are graduated from Harvard of India. That's the best you can get. So I'm not talking to someone who has a PhD from NIT. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So in that sense, you have an edge. So, but having said that, how many jobs are there for PhD students for in an industry in India who where they need people who have PhDs are also limited. And let's say within your department, I don't know how many PhDs are graduating every year. And I'm pretty sure
almost almost
everybody,
10.
let's say 10, right? And there is a backlog, people who haven't got a job, and then people who are incoming, and everybody's applying for that one position at Collins Aerospace.
Yeah,
And also on plus you have PhDs coming from IIT Madras, IIT Delhi, IIT Bombay. They're good too. IIT Kharagpur, right? So what puts you what keeps you so different that they will reach out to you? In addition, let's say you did not vetted your CV properly and they found some mistake. And because anybody can find anything, right? So I mean, it's a getting a job is not at a recipe. The only recipe I have found, if you are applying for a job, which has always worked for me, is if you look for a job. First of all, if you are looking for a job in a company that you think is one of the best for you, don't be sloppy. Just don't upload and submit your CV. Work on your CV, work on your cover letter before you submit it, because you get one chance, right? That's number one. Because what happens is once you upload your CV and if HR sees your CV, and if there's another job there that you think is good, most likely they are not going to look at your CV again because they already did it once. You are already in their database. So be careful when you're applying, where you're applying. If there is a company that you're like, that's okay, I mean, this is what it is, you can do upload and submit, that's fine. But not with companies that you feel like, yeah, these are good ones. The second is what I have felt always, and all the jobs I got are not through networking. The way I have got all my jobs, whether it was Rolls Royce or whether it's for LG or ANSYS or right now with Lockheed, I saw the rec, I applied, and I went through the process and I got it. And I can tell you one thing, what I have found, and these are 100 job I have applied. These are just not one. These are hundreds of jobs. So my data is quite bigger, and I saw the difference. The only difference I, the biggest difference I found is वो इंडिया में होता है ना, था ना पहले हाई स्कूल में,
Uh-huh.
आप आपका क्वेश्चन, आपका चैप्टर के पीछे क्वेश्चंस होते थे, फिर आपकी एक क्या बोलते थे उसको, एक आंसर आंसर गाइड आती थी.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm trying to tell you that your CV has to be the answer guide. That means if the rec says basic qualification 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, preferred qualification 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, your CV should be able to answer each and every questions in details. And if you are able to do that, let's say for example, if says the basic qualification, you should have a PhD in material science. You should have a knowledge of Python programming. You should have a work experience for 2 years. Okay. And your CV says, check PhD from ISC Bangalore materials. Python programming, I'm not so good at it. Oh, I don't have a 2 years experience. I am a fresher. That's not a complete answer sheet. You're out. What I'm trying to tell you, it has to be like this. And if it is, if you feel that what it is, you will get an interview. That's have my experience. It has to be the answer sheet, the person, and the other one thing on top of it, because most, at least in US, I can tell you that's the case, and I'm pretty sure in India too, because the sheer volume of people that apply, you want to make sure that the rec has certain keywords. Let's say material science, corrosion, characterization, right? The CV says the rec has those. Your you want to make sure your CV has those keywords too, because that's how the bot is going to look at it, and that's how actually most of the HR look at it. HR don't have degree in engineering; they have no idea. But if
Yeah.
they see this guy did characterization and the rec says characterization, okay, take it in. So be careful, right? And as I said, once you do all these things, I'm pretty sure you should be fine. But as I said, getting a job is not easy. Working is extremely easy. Maintaining, you have to work too. But getting into the job is the toughest part, no doubt. It's like getting into IITs is tough. Passing is the piece of cake. So it's the same process, and it's for everyone. Everyone goes through that process that you are going through. Some people are lucky, some people are unlucky. That's all. But in longer terms, I think everything is fine. But I would also tell you one thing is, because you have a PhD, uh, make sure you have plan B also, because your PhD could do it, unlike for a master's students, like having a postdoc. Like, why can't I apply for academics? Because a master's can't, right? Because but a master's can apply for a job, because usually jobs are undergrad with 10 years of experience, masters with 5 years of experience, PhD with 2 years. But for academics, master has no idea, right? So make sure those options are open too.
Yeah,
I don't
means
know
I
what.
have to maintain a good list of publication, which in postdoctoral experience sort of
Absolutely.
thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this was 10 years back, but I was interviewed at material science department for IC and IIT Bombay. And just finished my PhD in US. And I was thinking at that time, going back, the only question they had was, you don't have a postdoc experience. And right now it's PhD plus 3 year for an, I think, assistant professor.
Yeah, what my professor has suggested me that you should at least spend some 3 4 years outside the India, and they will
Yeah.
consider you seriously here.
Yep. No, he's right. And those 3 years you have to produce some good results.
Yeah,
Because as I told you, is everybody is going back, and every I mean, you're competing with a lot of people who are graduating from here too.
yeah,
Deepak, one good thing in your CVs, as I said, you you have been at IC, you have been with Purdue, so you have some good names there. So try to use the as your advantage, right? There, I spoke to a lot of people who don't have that, and really I cannot tell them what can happen. But I think in your case, if you, I would say you because you just came for a postdoc, you're it's too early.
Yeah.
You have to have patience, and as I said to you, the probability for you to get a job here is extremely low unless you have a green card. If you want to go through that route, I would advise you talk to a lawyer, try to see if you can get a green card, which is a tough process because you have to do on your own. It's going to
Yeah.
be very challenging and tough and time consuming. If you want to spend time on that, it's totally up to you. But at the same time, I would say is um, I won't tell you don't stop applying. Sometimes, who knows? If you see something, be serious, apply. Let's see what happens. But they're gonna come back to you and say the same thing. Because what happens if the any person who is in J1 and they work at National Lab or someone, for them doing a visa is much easier. Industry is not that
Yeah.
easy. Their visa process is H1B visa process is very cumbersome. Research universities, they it's very easy. Universities and research lab, it's very easy.
They just hire for some years and visa is like 5
Their
4 5 years.
H1B process visa is the system is different.
Okay. It won't be academia.
Yeah, yeah, that's H1B research. So you can apply anytime you want. They can give you anytime they want. There is no restriction. But with industry, it's a 60,000 visa or whatever. It opens in April. It finishes in 2 days. That's it. So let's say the problem here comes. Let's say if you were able to find a job and they said, hey, join in October, you cannot. You said, wait for April. And they're like, we're gonna get another guy.
Mhm.
That is the problem. So unless you have a green card, you that's out of. I mean, that's what happened to me. I got my green card when I was at Oak Ridge, and then I got a job. Otherwise, it was difficult. Even they were not with core industry. It especially working for good brands. It's difficult for them to give visas. They don't do. So when I got my job at Rolls Royce, the manager said we can wait if you can apply for green card, and I said okay. I will. I applied and things went fine. But it was very tedious process, extremely. The good thing is that I have good papers. I had like 400 citations and things like that. I have awards, this and that. And I said because if I would have not done that, I had to go back to India. I was that close to having issue. And a lot of my friends are. I mean, all the PhD students, same story. So
But for PhDs, there is slight edge here that they are getting some OPT and all for some
yeah, because
period.
they graduate from here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so of course that's the only edge they have. So they get three chance to get OPT, the visa. But the problem here is even then, not every, like the place where I work right now, if you're not a US citizen, you cannot get a job. Forget about green card because it's a defense company. It's like working for, I don't know, DRDO.
Yeah.
So why a foreigner will get a job? Like you are working for some defense programs which are extremely secret and things like that. So it's not it doesn't happen. I get a lot of queries. Probably they get confused with my CV that I'm from India, but I am not an Indian citizen. It's been 5 years. The only reason I got a job here is because I they told me if you want the job you have to convert to US citizenship, and I did, and then I got interviewed. Otherwise, it was not possible. And same thing with Rolls-Royce. They said we cannot sponsor you. You have to get a green card, and that's how it was. A lot of IT companies do H-1B visa. Very few core companies do H-1B visa. Yeah. So that is the nature of the work, you know, and that's for everyone. The only advantage PhD or any student get here once they graduate is they they get into this OPT line. So at least they are good for 3 years. But they every time they have to worry about what if I don't get a visa? What if my visa won't be renewed? So yeah.
So the first thing which I have to work on is on my CV, making it more.
Again, the first thing you have to think, what do you want to do?
I want to go for industry because going for academia will take years, I guess.
No, it's not about this. Where in India? Apply right now. Work on
For
your
industry,
CV, apply immediately, and keep applying.
for industries.
Yeah. And I don't know if the requirement is you have to go and give an interview, whatever, which I'm pretty sure you will be able to do it, but or they can do it in Skype or any Zoom. But what I'm saying is, you have to be clear what my plan A is. If your plan A is this, these are my actions. If then what is my plan B, and this is my actions. And what is my plan C, and these are my actions. Because one thing is, um, you want to be extremely careful because you came for a postdoc. You don't want to get in a mindset, I'm going in industry, and let's say it doesn't pan out immediately. You're gonna be losing your time and your energy not doing the work you are supposed to do,
Yeah.
and losing that too. So divide your time accordingly. Make sure you are doing what you're supposed to do. Because you have to understand, your advisor is your last resort here. If he or she is pissed off and you have to go back, that would be the last thing you want to do.
Yeah.
Right. So do your work. And I said applying for a job doesn't take too much time. Even if you spend 1 hour a day, that's more than enough. How many times you going to improve your CV?
Uh-huh.
Right. So
So yeah, I don't have to pay much time on applying for jobs, I guess, because let's say I sit on Saturday.
yep, exactly.
Yeah,
And the other thing is that you can also look for jobs in Canada. There are companies who are Canadian companies are much more, Canada is
open.
much more open than US in terms of visa. But as I said, the sheer volume of students are huge. There's a huge lot competition. But as you say, stroke of luck also works sometimes. So anything else, Deepak?
No, nothing, sir.
Cool. So what did you work on PhD?
So I have worked on stainless steel 316L and second alloy is copper nickel tin. So
So
this
you
both
3D printed
3D printed, yeah,
and then characterization?
characterization thing.
Got it.
And here my group works on, means the group where I work in Purdue,
Uh-huh.
they work on industrial engineering department.
So what do you do here?
I'm doing same thing, characterization, but the manufacturing process they use it machining, high speed machining. They produce strips, and those strips are thought to get used as a wire, or maybe in some other form, flat products.
So you're doing like microscopic characterization testing, things like that on samples?
And some more on DIC, digital image,
But DIC, what you like while testing?
while testing, while cutting of the strips.
While what? What do you say?
In cutting, let's say if we are going it through a linear cutter, some workpiece. So we focus on cutting of those two. And so just like any normal DIC for mechanical test,
Okay. So they have their own like a soft DIC software or something, or
my MATLAB codes.
oh, okay. What MATLAB code do you use?
I think it's they have written it on. In IISc, I was, yeah, you might be knowing Atul Choksi, Professor Atul Choksi.
I've heard his name, yeah.
So his group students, they have given me some codes written in MATLAB
Actually, there's
that
a
I use.
MATLAB code on DIC from Chris also, and it's in MATLAB Works. Chris Rebel. Yeah, it's pretty good. I That's what I used to do. used to do during my time.
What's your purpose? What was your purpose for using DIC?
Mechanical testing. So I used to do small scale testing. The what the guy name of the guy in ISC?
Chris Nabril.
No, the at ISC Bangalore, that head of the he was a head of the department also. He used to do micro scale testing.
Vikram Jaram.
Yeah. So I used to talk to Vikram quite a lot during those time. So I was a postdoc with Kevin Hemker up in Johns Hopkins, and so I we used to make these small scale testing systems and do micro scale testing and use MATLAB code for DIC.
So the takeaway from this meeting is that I should focus, just keep on applying for industries, and in parallelly, I have to focus on my academia
I would
journey.
say, yeah. I mean, as he said, why you did PhD otherwise, you know. Well, I mean, there is a reason. I mean, that I always ask this question, why people should do PhD, but since you already done it, I would say use that to your advantage.
But looking at this journey and going to some research position or maybe in some industry institute for teaching, what I feel that it takes a long time. You have to keep increasing your publications, and that do not
I
in
mean,
my
that's the nature of
control.
the work. I mean, what I'm saying, you have to be enthusiastic about that. You can't say this is boring because that's the nature of the work. I can tell you the work in industry is very boring too.
Uh,
And that too, job insecurity is always there. At least in academics, you have a job security. Nobody can fire you here. They can fire you whenever they want. I mean, I have been laid off twice already. It's very common. The
yeah.
layoffs are common. I mean, last year, Google laid off 10,000 people. Imagine. Microsoft laid off 13,000 people. Facebook laid off so many people. So, industry, that thing is common. And I personally think if you get a academic job in a reputed institution, I think it's the best thing that can happen to you, right? I mean, who does not want to become a professor? For example, if you're planning to go to India at IC Bangalore, or who doesn't want to be a professor if you stay in US and become a professor at Stanford? That's the best thing that you can do.
Yeah.
I mean, if you are worried about I have to publish papers, but that's the excitement is. I mean, you drive your work. So you can do that work boring or you can make it very wonderful. And look at the legacy you built in. I mean, in industry there are legacies. But in academics, look at in your department, they might talk about professor who are in there in 1920s and still they have the guest lecture for that professor, right? That's a legacy you built in. So I think it's a very pious, a very amazing profession. And that's the reason I want to become a professor too, because I think it's very fulfilling. My dad was a teacher. I always enjoyed teaching. It's I think it's very wonderful if you can build somebody's career and inspire someone at the same time make money. Right. So think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool, Deepak.
Thank,
I think
thank you so.
as I said, you probably, uh, you should be fine. As I said, let me tell you where you are coming from and where you are. Very few people need to do that. You are one of those. Try to use that at your advantage. Failures are, what do you say? Failures are, oh, you cannot avoid failures. They will be there. And this is the start of your life now. That's the real life. Once you come out from an institution where you are more secured, this is the real life, where now you're feeling that insecurity and it will remain be there forever. More so when you get married, when you have kids. So this is the real life. I mean, institution keeps you protected. Once you're out, you are on your own. But the good thing is that you have done all the right things. So I think you should be fine. Okay?
Thank you so
Cool,
much, sir.
Deepak. No problem. Yeah, and
Thank you
keep
for
in
your
touch. If
time.
you have any time, if you decide something, let me know. Okay.
Yeah, so the better way of contacting you is through mail or through
Yeah, yeah.
LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn is better.
Okay.
Okay,
Oh, okay,
Deepak.
sir.
Yeah,
Okay.
have fun. Work hard,
Yeah.
and make sure I have fun too, because you want to go out too. I think one of the things you have to do, make friends and enjoy when you're here. Just don't
Yeah.
focus on lab and work. You need to enjoy it too. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Thank you.